Well, a good morning to you. It is Monday morning. We are officially out of Christmas. Monday morning, December the 26th, 1994. Welcome. It's time for the Impact program. Impact is the in-studio guest format where we discuss a wide variety of topics. Tonight I do have an in-studio guest who looks vaguely familiar. I've seen this guy how many times now? We do this every time.
Right.
We're in double digits now. We're using two hands at least.
But I want to tell you, it was 6 years ago that we first went on the air, you and and I was trying to recollect it. I think it's about 15 or 16 times I've been on the air with you.
Well, one thing I do know is you are the guest, out of all the guests that I've had, that has been on the most times on the Impact program. And you are the founder of the Frontline Foundation, Ray Castellani.
Wow.
Hello, brother.
Hello, my brother.
How are we?
I'm fine, and Merry Christmas to you and to all. I want to say that first of all.
It seems like a couple of years ago we did a program on Christmas night, too. And I remember we had a few callers call during the call-in segment, and they were commenting about, alluding to, are you really who you say you are, or are you somebody else? You sound like some guy that goes around the world and drops off presents. I remember somebody called you, I know who you are. Do you remember that call?
Yeah, I remember that. That we did have the show was on Christmas Day, or Christmas Eve. In fact, it was a few years ago. But yeah, I remember. No, I'm not Santa Claus.
I just want to clarify that right at the beginning here.
Yeah, I'm not Santa Claus.
I also want to put something out at the beginning. Speaking of calls, we had a call the last time on this program from a young boy.
Yes, Jason, right? Jason?
And I don't even remember his name.
Yes, I think. Yeah.
And what happened? You asked him.
Right. If he's listening, call in the night. But you didn't leave your phone number when you called the front line. And I was frustrated not being able to get a hold of you. But if you are listening, please call me tomorrow and leave your phone number and let me know how things are going.
Jason was one of our younger callers.
Marvel, I got so many people love that telephone call.
Well, he stole the show that night.
Oh, it was powerful. Powerful.
Frontline Foundation has been around for how long?
Now it's 7 years. December. The first week in December 5th, was 7 years. 7 years.
And what is the focus of the Frontline Foundation?
Frank, it's amazing how the evolvement of the last 7 years. And 7 years ago, I would have said I'm trying to serve food to hungry people, and that's not the focus. And I've changed my focus, or grown up, or or been educated, however one wants to take it. I think the focus now is putting out an energy of compassion, of understanding, of love. To my fellow man. And the food that I deliver to the people of Skid Row is a vehicle by which this compassion is transported, however we can say it. So I think that and my spectrum has widened, which I'm very excited about, because I feel as though I've been expanded. I feel as though I've been set free. I feel as though there's a tremendous depth in my understanding for my fellow man that I never had before. So when you ask the question, what is Frontline's focus, it entails, for me, human beings that are involved in a situation of giving, for the purity of giving. And everybody that is involved with this organization has that kind of energy that goes out, and it's pure and it's beautiful. So it's not about food, although
That's the vehicle, if you
right.
will. Yeah. Now, for those that have never heard you before and they might want to know more about it, Frontline is a volunteer organization.
Correct.
So someone listening that might want to donate some time, do you have any openings?
Oh yes, I always have openings, and it's tremendous. We have groups now. We just started one up on Saturday. On another group that is pulling in, and it's into the flow of the whole puzzle. So if anybody wants to volunteer, please call area code 818-780-1995, and also a P.O. Box, Frontline Foundation, P.O. Box 570303, Tarzana, California, 91357, if they want to get in touch with me that way. But volunteers it's just great. There's so many, and I'd like to open it up to more servings of food. We have now a Hollywood group which has served over almost 4,000 human beings in Hollywood. We have which is exciting too, a Pasadena group that has served pretty close to 1,500, I would say. It started about a few months ago. All this stemmed also too from the Pasadena group from KLOS, and so what you and I went over the radio 6 years ago in our little conversations, because I didn't know what I was doing, and you knew what you were doing, but I didn't know what I was doing.
Yeah, you may think so.
But it was it grew, it blossomed. I mean we have the most fantastic dinner that that you host that was beautiful last a few weeks ago, and it was all people from KLOS and people that heard about and I heard this, and oh yeah, and I want to, and so it's and I'd love to have more. There's no reason why the kitchen couldn't serve more food downtown, another serving. And this also that we have this beautiful people that are alleviating me from going downtown on Saturday. That has helped me stay alive a little bit longer, and so I'm receiving a lot of help that I needed so desperately. And so what I want to say is that what our little conversation grew has blossomed into literally hundreds and hundreds of people from can you imagine if we were on daytime television for 1 hour once every 3 months? My God, we'd be able to solve the whole problem downtown.
Do other organizations, specifics, but from your experience of doing this for more than 7 years, why does the problem exist? I want to ask you, do other people really want to solve the problem? And I guess I'm pointing more toward the government outlets and some other organizations that profess to want to help homeless and street people.
Frank, I don't have the answer to that question. I think in any society, there's going to be people that do and people that don't. There's going to be people that care and people that don't care. There's going to be people that love and people that hate. And I think that there's going to be hungry people and there's going to be not so hungry people. There's going to be people that are anti-government that are for the government. I am a great believer in being an example. Let me be an example. There's that old cliche, what he is speaks so loud I cannot hear a word he says, by example. If the government is an example, let the government be an example. Let them be an example of what we're supposed to be all about. If we're supposed to wipe out hunger downtown, then let's wipe it out. I mean, I can take care of that myself. A non-entity, a nondescript can take care of that myself. But too much emphasis is shoved off to to the side. Oh yeah, well they'll take care of this and they'll take care of that. And instead of standing, I've said this before. If you want to clean the streets, get a broom and start cleaning the streets. If you want to get the leaves off the front lawn or the lawns, get a rake and start raking the lawn. And this is the way. This is what I believe in. I'm a firm believer in the action, doing, it's government will always put off to the city, and the city will. It just goes around and around and around and around, and nobody wants to solve a problem because there's money involved. Whenever there's money involved, you're not going to get a problem solved. I mean, it's like it's a silly circle downtown on Skid Row. I mean, you've got the missions trying to get the people off the streets. You've got the people that don't want to get off the streets have to go in. I mean, it's all mixed up. This is a society. I just work in one little small area of our town, which is downtown Los Angeles, Skid Row. It's a society of people. They're human beings. They're like me. They're like you. They're like everybody else. They're just a little down their luck, some of them, and some of them are up on their luck as far as their mind goes because their mind works so beautifully, and they can understand much far greater than I'll ever be able to understand. So there's a tremendous amount of pawning off or shuffling things to other sides, and that's the way it is. I mean, I was my wife is a substitute teacher, and I never realized this, but I mean, if you really look at this issue, everybody's worrying about the kids, and then everybody doesn't want to pay the teachers that's taking care of those kids in the first, second, third, and fourth grades until they get to the fifth, sixth, and then they're carrying guns and knives. You see. But there's where the kids are, and yet everybody's arguing. Well, let's help the teachers so that they can teach the kids. That's what it's about, and it gets so twisted and warped that, my God, and again, talking about the kids is my pet peeve. Everybody's worrying about the kids. Well, let the kids have a good Christmas, and the kids. Jesus, we've done so good. We've been on this show 6 years. I've been down on Skid Row 7. Those people that were 10-year-old kids now are gang banging and shooting up and killings and murders on the streets of today. They're 17 years old. We did such a fine job 7 years ago or 6 years ago in my little time. And this is what is so disturbing to me. I mean, the attitudes of discrimination, subtle attitudes. Well, I won't go with you unless you are a radio disc jockey. Then I'll go with you. And if your father is a big-time lawyer, then I'll go out with your daughter. You understand what I'm saying? Subtle.
What I hear you saying is there's conditions.
Oh, total. It's all conditions. All conditions. You come here and I'll give you that with that other handout. And it drives me crazy. And that's where I believe so much that if these things aren't pointed out, I don't know where or how it's ever going to rectify itself. I mean, nobody wants to talk about these kind of issues. They're afraid to. Their job is on the line. This is on, and yet they make these silly movies. It's all.
And the media is involved in this too.
The media is the most horrendous avenue of deceit. I wish I could be on in front of 50,000 people at someplace and telling it. This is so true. They propagandize the whole 24 hours a day with what I'm supposed to listen to. And twist the news, twist the people, and then you have the murderers on, you have the excitement of what this is the best murder, and that's a good murder, and the 11 o'clock murder, the 9 o'clock murder, and the children that are being slain. I mean, we've got all this now, all bunched into our television that we turn on, and then we've got the radio announcers just any kind of news. The other day when the guy that they shot in Washington, that we had the knife to his hand, and we saw the guy get shot. All of a sudden, he's Mr. Nice Guy. He's a nice guy. He's a felon. He's a street, but now he's a nice person because now, had he killed a policeman, had he stabbed him to death, and then it would have been okay. God forbid if anything happens that we step on the toes of somebody else. No. This other policeman that was shot in 3 days ago, that his wife came crawling out of the store and says there's a robbery going on, and he came face to face with the guy. And they killed the cop and they killed him. That's okay. We don't hear the news media telling you about that, but they want to stir up the pot of trouble, of misunderstanding, of confusion, and oh yeah, right, oh yeah, that's the law. Man, there's only 6,000 policemen cooking around here, and there's criminals all over the place.
How about fear?
Well, fear is, I
do
love
they
that.
do that as well?
Pardon me?
Does the media do that as well? Stir up the
they'll
fear?
instill the fear into that's subliminal. If they fear. That's what goes on all the time. Because how can a person? You've got more things. I mean, look at trying to get into KLOS. You've got gates and guards and everything else, and then they've got the buzzers and the badges, and this is all. Everybody's afraid they might have a kook come in here, and I mean, it's everything is riddled around fear. They got the gates in Truesdale, beep. They got the buzzers. They got the car alarms. Everybody is all worrying about who's at my front door, who's at my back door. I mean, that's the whole world is built, and I hope my kids aren't going to turn out like this. I mean, boy, I'm going to give my kids a good education, and they turn up to be drug addicts anyway, so what's the difference, And then everybody joins hands and say, oh, isn't it a wonderful day? Man, it's miserable. And it's tough out there in those streets. And then I'm down on Skid Row, and everybody says, oh, boy, well, we don't want to help those people down there. They don't want to help themselves. Well, what's society doing up here? Helping themselves to a few robberies, a few murders. We got this silly little thing on this murder trial, whatever that thing is. Horrifying display of humanity when two people their throats are cut, and we have a charade going on in our city, and everybody joins in on the charade. I mean, it's appalling. And that's where we are, folks. Dahmer gets killed in jail, but nobody ate him up. He was. It's okay. Let him go. We don't hear who did it. Who did it to Dahmer? I mean, we don't care. Put him on the news. Put him in the papers. He's all over the papers now. I mean, all you got to do is kill a few people, put him in a stew, and I'll be on the front page. And
cover of magazines.
And all magazines, all. I just have to go kill some. Jesus, if you feed 500,000 people, you help a little old lady across the street. We don't want you. We don't want you. Nobody wants you.
We hear things like, "Well, love, that's nice, but that's not the real world."
No, the real world. Nobody wants to hear what the real world is about. Because they are afraid that you're talking about the fear. They're afraid to say, oh, this is the real world. Oh, my God. Well, see, I'm not afraid of the real world because I'm not afraid of dying. So it doesn't make any difference to me. But there's a reality, and then there's fantasy, and there's self-delusion. There's all these little areas that pop up. And it just bothers me intensely not to put out the truth. Not my truth, the real truth. The truth. What's the matter with the truth? Everybody's afraid to hear what it really's like. Where's it going? Where are we going? Where's the world going? Everybody's worrying about this and worrying about that. My God, we're being overpopulated. Anybody worrying about that? I don't hear the headlines with that in there. Geez, don't have any more babies, folks. We're going to lose the world if we do. Oh, God, no. No, I'm not going to do that. That's a problem. They say, well, geez, they wouldn't have to have that many hamburgers. I won't eat any more hamburgers. But so they take all the land because they got to grow for the cattle, and if they didn't have that many people, they wouldn't have to have the hamburgers. It's a fact, Frank. So, but nobody wants to do it. They want to do away with the killing of the animal, which I agree with. Geez, I don't want to get in that fight because there's another thing. The bear. The little bear going down the street. They'll shoot the bear, and nobody will stand on the platform and say, "Let's not do this." They got a few people, saying, "Let's not kill the bear." But I mean, they'll kill the animals. They'll just kill them. They'll kill the coyotes. They'll kill the wolves. They'll just, oh my God, they'll trap them up there in Alaska. Horrifying, horrifying. And that's truth. That's truth. And the animal just loves. When you're standing in front of a polar bear, you know what that polar bear is going to do. It's going to eat you. I mean, he's not going to say, well, I'm going to lie to this guy and put my arm around him and then stab him. He's not going to do that. You know exactly where you stand with a polar bear and a grizzly bear. At least I would. And they don't lie. Animals don't lie. They don't cheat. There's so many beautiful things that we can learn from these animals, and yet we'll kill them. We're the only human being will go out and shoot them with a gun. An elephant. I mean, this is the destruction of the world that's happening before our eyes.
Yeah, and there are powers that be that say, hey, it's about progress here.
There's no progress, Frank. Where's the progress? I'll tell you what. If you give me one person that says we have progressed in the last 5 years, just tell me where we've progressed. Well, I say we have progressed in the killings. We in the drive-by shootings, which is a good progression. We've progressed in riots. We've progressed in fear. Certainly, we've also progressed in self-delusion because Reginald Denny really didn't get hit with a brick. It was something else that happened there. And things like the King guy, he got beat up a little bit. But then again, 3 policemen died here recently, and nobody even cared about it. There was a woman that got killed, a policewoman got killed in her car. Do you know her name? We don't know her name. We don't know the cop that died the other day. But we know Mr. King's name. Now, there's something. That's how we've progressed. We've progressed in the decadency of our society. But for the good, for the education of the people, everybody says educate, educate, educate. What are we educating? We've got the kids in the in the kindergarten, first, second, third, and fourth grades are the most vital grades of life. We should be pouring everything into that stream. And saying, okay, let's help this. This is the foundation. This is the beginning, where they learn how to read and write and spell and all these things. Where they learn a little bit of compassion, love, and all that, blah, blah, blah. But nothing's being done there. They fight over money. My God, give a little money from the basketball shoes or the toys that they buy or the things, and put a little money into that. But they say educate, educate, educate. What are we educating? Anyway, it gets me going, Frank. I guess I shouldn't talk so much, but
So what I hear you saying is that if we don't stop lying to ourselves, we've got no chance.
Yeah, it's a total lie. There is no chance. Frank, can you tell me where is there something that you can stand up and say, hey, this is good. We're living in ant farms. We're building more ant farms. Christmas is, my God, I went to the mall over in Glendale the other day. Oh my God, I was horrified by the display of humanity. No parking. I mean, my God, what a display. That's the progression of humanity. Where's the hope in that? Oh, well, we're doing our Christmas shopping, and everybody's swearing at everybody else, jumping in line, trying to get this, Is that what it's about? Can't go any place because everything is overpriced. Can't buy a house. Had a lettuce cost $2. That's no big deal. But I mean, where is the hope?
Well, let me ask you that. Since we're talking about a lot of the problems, where is the hope and where do the solutions lie?
Paradoxically, the solution lies in the hopelessness. If the recognition of the hopeless. When the atomic bomb blew up in 1945, the Japanese, they said, "Do you surrender?" And they said no. And they dropped another one. And they said, "Do you surrender?" And they said, "Yeah, where do we sign?" The hopelessness of that situation ended World War II, but also killed 160,000 people. So it was out of that total despair that this country said, no more. It was out of the hopelessness. We have not reached the hopelessness state. We only think we have reached the hopelessness state. But it is out of the hopelessness that somebody may... How do you stop the world population, Frank, from growing to, in 1962, to 2.5 billion, to 1992 to over 5.5 billion, to the year 2000 it's going to be 8 billion, to the year 2012, I may be a little bit off on my figures, to 12 billion, maybe it's a year 2020, to 12 billion. How are you going to stop that? They got to clear away a lot of places and kill a lot of animals to make room for a lot of people. And that's doubling and tripling and to an exorbitant amount. But you see, it's not good for politicians to get. Oh, God forbid, if you ever said that over your radio program tonight, they'd be stringing you up alive. If you said, well, I think we're only going to have one child per family. Who are you to tell me I can only have one child for the family? It's only when your kid can no longer eat that you might change your mind. And that's the hopelessness.
So if we reach a point of, let me get this now. If we reach a point of stopping the lying to ourselves, that we are in dire straits, that we are not progressing, that if we stop and realize, at the very least, we've got to do something a little different here. That's paradoxically where the hope lies.
Right.
In that willingness to tell ourselves the truth.
Right.
Okay, so say we get to that place. Say humanity somehow comes to a place of realizing that maybe we're arrogant and everything else. Then what? Where do the real solutions lie? Then what do we do? Talk about concept. You talk about truth. I'd imagine there's other concepts like love in there.
Right, because there's so much hate in the world.
Right.
If you have a world full of hate, if you have a world full of mistrust and deceit, this all has to change around. But that's coming out, Frank. That's already here, the hate, the vile, the vermin. That's already here in the streets. That's all over. These people are... I mean, I would love to take all the people with so much hate and just love them. That's the way I feel. I mean, I'm not going to say I'll get to first base with anybody, but I would just love to do that.
Why love?
Because that's the answer. Compassion and understanding and is the answer. See, that's the answer to offset. I mean, I see. I've seen that work in my own little situation downtown. It's through love. It's through understanding. It's through compassion. It's through tolerance. That's enabled these people, the people that nobody else wants, to be able to say, "Hey, Ray, come with us." It's because of that has changed those feelings for a moment. And so I know it works. I mean, it's done on a scale on Skid Row, and if it's done in downtown Los Angeles on Skid Row, it can be done with any human being. It can be done in the prisons, and I'm not saying if somebody is off their rocker. I mean, that's a and then they need medical help or whatever it is. But I'm talking about the average person who just hates and wants to hurt people. You know, it can be transformed. It started as a kid. and it can be transformed with love. But there has to be boundaries. There's no boundaries. There are no. We have eliminated all boundaries. We have eliminated all boundaries. So there's no boundary. You can go kill somebody, and it's okay. You can go bash somebody's head in with a brick. It's okay, because you see, the judge and the jury will, if the pressure is, depending on how big the pressure is, will go the other way, and that's simple.
And maybe if you have a bit of luck, you'll sign a big movie deal and make a bunch of money.
You'll certainly write a book. You'll certainly write a book, and they'll certainly want that. That's all it is. It's just the cameras and the lights and the action and how much money I can put away. That's what it is. But there are no boundaries. There are no limitations. There's no limitations for a kid, because you say, well, a kid, you can't do this, because if you spank a kid or touch a kid, they're going to put you in jail for that. That's when they'll go with the Fifth Amendment or the Fourth Amendment or the First Amendment. They'll always go when they'll use it when it's to their advantage, see. But to discipline any kind of a person, oh no, we don't want to discipline. We want to re-educate you, rethinking. That's all baloney. Because you see, it starts from that little embryonic kid that's on those streets. And that's where it does start from. And so it's got to be put into love, into understanding, into compassion. And then got to hold your breath and hope. You see. But I don't think it's here. I'm very that's the word I have is pessimistic, I guess you'd say. Because I never thought about carrying a gun. My God. But I don't know. I'm thinking about getting a shotgun in the back of my car and saying, "Well, you got a problem here." That's I would never think along those lines. And I said, God, it's terrible. Rape, people rape. They let rape it. Guy, 200. They're letting him out. If he didn't get out, but he's got to go through a mental examination. But God, he has no boundary. He can rape 200 women. No boundary. So, well, he's rehabilitated. He hasn't got to have a boundary. When you go through a red light, you see the red light is a boundary. When you drive a car, nobody objects. Nobody objects. Nobody gets the Fourth Amendment or the First Amendment or against the government or against the city or against the mayor on going through. Why don't they take the red light away? No, because a red light means stop. And if you don't stop, another car is going to hit you, which is fear. Right or wrong?
Absolutely.
If you go down the boulevard and you go through 6 red lights, you're going to get swinged one of these times. So fear is going to keep you from that. And nobody's arguing about that. So that's my boundary. That is my boundary. But on a hit and run or something like that, guys, well, man, I didn't do anything wrong here. They finally got a little stiff on drunk drivers. I mean, Jesus. I mean, a guy drunk and drinking under the influence of alcohol and driving on these streets, endangering the lives, and they say, well, slap your little hand. Got a good lawyer. Got you off on this one. 3 strikes and you're in. You're in the society again.
Has anything changed over, say, the last 20 or 30 years, or is this... We've been on this course for quite a while. It seems like just in my short lifetime that when I was growing up, kids didn't bring guns to school. Now, I don't know if that's something has changed over 20 years or it's just taken that long of a period of time for all of that to come to actually happen. In other words, were we like this in the 20s and 30s?
Well, Al Capone was. but you get when a kid, if I was in high school and I open up my jacket and I show somebody a gun, I'm a big shot. Or I show somebody a knife, I'm a big shot. It's all that image. And they have the football players that are images, but everything is so violent. Football, God, with the helmets and bashing. They just want to hurt the other person so bad. It's not a game. It's just how badly I can hurt you. So it's all in this violent state. It's like an arena. It's like the gladiators. If you watch the football, everything is how much I can bash you in. Hockey and they always had gotten fisticuffs, but they're not going out sticking their helmets in the other guy You know what I mean? They're doing it with their fists.
Yeah, and actually they're out on strike now because they want more money. So that's not happening at all. My in-studio guest is Ray Castellani from the Frontline Foundation, an organization that serves the people of the streets of Skid Row, and we're going to open the phone lines in just a few moments. And if you say, well, you haven't really talked much about feeding people or the streets, oftentimes these programs take on a whole different energy of their own. I'd like you to talk more about some principles that you adhere to.
Well, I just believe in four principles, Frank, and principles of purity, honesty, unselfishness, and love. And I believe that these are the principles that I put forth in my life. And it's whenever you're dealing in those kind of principles, there's always an insidiousness that can infiltrate in to sway or to move me in another direction. And it's not so hard now, but it was several years ago. But now it's I've learned to be able to see where my pitfalls are, and but there has to be like I said, those are my boundaries. Those are my boundaries. Purity, purity of thought and mind, body and soul, and all those other things, and they're heavy principles.
Have you always had those boundaries?
No, I didn't. I lived by the other boundaries, by lying, cheating, conning, stealing, and all those things. Those are my the things I did, and that's why I know about lying, and I also know about about love, is because in my heart and in my when I was young, I knew I needed that kind of nourishment, and it was I was never a bad person, but I needed that nourishment. I knew what that kind of nourishment was, understanding, and so that's what I've tried to understand more, and they're very vital. They're very poignant in my whole philosophy of life right now. Which is, I don't have a big philosophy, but it's just I care, Frank. I've learned how to care, basically. And I think the principle of caring is followed by an action. And I don't want to impress anybody. Well, I can't impress anybody, but I just care. I care about humanity. I really, it's amazing. I sit sometimes and I sort of know I'm on the tail end of my life, and I just feel kind of sad inside that the way I feel is going to go with me, and that's as far as it's going to go. And that's the way life is. There'll be somebody else around that's more powerful, much more powerful. Well, a lot of people now, much more powerful than me, that will have more to say, like you. You know, you'll be saying it for long after I'm gone. So, but there's an essence of purity in my thought towards humanity. I care about people, and I don't care about where they came from, or I don't want to hurt anybody, and I don't want to lie to anybody. I don't want to cheat anybody, and these are important things to me.
Let's talk about the people of Skid Row just for a moment. Then I want to open the phone lines. We have no commercials tonight. We're commercial free, so we're going to do a lot of sharing here. Have the streets changed since you've been down there for 7 years?
Well, it's a little tougher now. It's a lot tougher now. It's just tougher. It's a tougher world. So it's gonna go all over, and it's tougher. I think it's tougher in Beverly Hills too. It's tougher in Encino. I mean, it's tougher all around. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be tougher on Skid Row.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Skid Row is just Skid Row. The only thing that Skid Row is they just don't dress well. You know?
Why Skid Row? Why do you focus so much of your energy in that area?
Because that's where I was directed to go. That's where I was directed to go. I was literally directed to go to Skid Row to help the people of Skid Row, and that's where I was directed to go. I would have liked to have been directed to go to Palm Springs, but it didn't work out that way. Especially if I got money. I don't get any money, so you know it's a lot. It's not an easy road. The last 7 years has not been easy for me. The last 7 years has been very hard on me. The last 7 years has taken its toll on me. In the last 7 years, I'm tired, and I know that. I know all these things, but yet, close to 435,000 meals have been served, Frank, in that area, and that's a miracle. And what is a greater miracle are the people that are involved. Because I'm really, God, this thing just runs by itself. I'm just, and these volunteers are unbelievable. I mean, the way it works. So this organization was created for not for me. It was created for a whole bunch of people that are givers, that want to help people. So, and they all care. They probably care much greater than I do because they're doing all the work.
Hasn't always been that way, though.
Well, no.
I mean, 7 years ago it started with 111 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and a pot of coffee.
That's right.
And if you only knew then what you knew now, huh?
That's right. I go to Beverly Hills.
Let me give out some numbers here. If you'd like to be on the air on KLOS this morning, if you have any questions or comments, anything at all from my in-studio guest, Ray Castellani from the Frontline Foundation, you can get through at any of the following numbers in the 213-818 or 310 area codes. 520-KLOS are the main lines, 520-5567. We also have lines in the 714 area. The numbers there are 977-KLOS. And our toll-free lines are 1-800-955-KLOS, 1-800-955-5567. We'll pay even for the phone call. You'll talk to our program coordinator, Tammy Richardson. She's in the other room right now as we speak, picking up the phones. So, again, any questions or comments at all for anything you've heard so far or anything you'd like to bring up on the air, you're welcome to give us a call. 1-800-955-KLOS are the toll-free lines. What do you need from the listeners, Ray?
Tuna fish. Tuna fish. I really basically need the thoughts and the good thoughts of the people. I really do. I mean, I think that this is a very powerful organization, and what's made it powerful are the people, the listeners, from a lot of people from KLOS certainly have ridiculous, and it's another whole topic we'll get into sometime. But if I worried about money, I wouldn't have fed one person. If I worried about I don't have my paycheck, I wouldn't have fed one person. I have not received any money in the last 7 years, and 435,000 meals have been served. Now that is a miracle. So when people come to me and they say, "Well, geez, I don't have any money and I can't afford it," I just look at them and I say, "Don't." They don't say it to me. Not too many people that know me would even say that to me, but because it doesn't enter into my computer. You know, I owe money. I borrow money. Money comes from here. Money comes. Now I'm on disability, unfortunately. So I couldn't work even if I wanted to work. And so the trip has not been pretty, but the miracle is here. The miracle is right here. And the miracle is in the people that show up and the people the volunteers.
And part of the formula of the miracle is giving for the purity of giving.
That's the whole, not part of it. That's it. To give for the purity of giving and ask nothing in return. Not even a good feeling. I know people will object to that. But if you're going looking for a good feeling, you're in it for something. You got your hand in for something. Can't even be for a good feeling. It may feel good. I'm not going to question that. But see, freedom has no boundaries. And if I am a free human being and a true instrument of God's will, then I have no boundaries. You understand what I'm saying?
Sure.
And so if I say I'm going to do this because I want to feel good, that's a boundary. I'm doing it for some other reason. And I believe it to the best of my. I have no fear, and I walk a free man today. I'm not afraid of anything, and I don't have any boundaries. I have no boundaries as far as any kind of worrying about whether I'm going to get money to do this or money to do that. Just doesn't enter into my computer. I'm only concerned with one thing: how much I can give this particular day, or this situation tonight, in fact. How much can I give here at the radio station tonight? And you've given me so much. The people have given me so much. So, I am humbled by all of... I am humbled by every time I walk in front line. I'm humbled. By every time I go downtown, I'm humbled. By every time... I'm humbled. And that doesn't... That's the way I feel. So, these are all factors that are involved in what I stand for, what I do, and what the people around me do. I only demand one thing, and that's love. If you've got a bad attitude, I don't need it.
Give out the number to Frontline again, and you had mentioned tuna fish.
Yeah, tuna. I can take all the tuna fish I can get. And there's a couple yesterday that came to Frontline that heard us from Orange County. Anna and I think it's Alfred, I think. Boy, if I get the names wrong, it's irrelevant. But they came all the way yesterday with tuna fish and lemonade and some cracker. But tuna fish, they came with tuna fish from Orange County. They drove all this distance. You've got Joanne coming from Orange County and somebody else from KLOS, Charles coming from
Hermosa Beach.
Hermosa Beach. I can't believe these people. I mean, it's believable. But anyway, they came all the way and I just couldn't get over it with that. Anyway, Frontline Foundation, area code 818 780 1995, and it's P.O. Box 570303, Tarzana 91357, California.
California. And you'd also be humbled if you've got volunteers come out of this interview tonight.
Beautiful. Yeah, well,
specifically, how much time do you need from someone if they would like to volunteer?
An hour and a half. Unless it's like this gal, Frances O'Brien. She takes a bus all the way from Glendale, from Burbank, all the way to Frontline. And she has to volunteer 4 hours a day. But outside of that, it's only an hour from everybody else. Hour and a half.
Every week, every month?
Oh, it would be whatever they want to. I mean, I would fit in anything that they wanted to do. I would fit it in.
Where's the facility, for those that don't know?
The facility is at Oxnard and Sepulveda Boulevard in Van Nuys. It's west of Sepulveda, right around the corner from Granger, an alley. You'll see a great big sign that says Frontline Foundation.
Okay. You want to take some phone calls?
Sure.
I don't know if you have volume in your headset at all, but if you don't, if you just follow it where it plugs in under the table, you'll find a knob there to your left.
I got it.
You got it? You've done this enough, huh? It's 1 o'clock in the morning. This is KLOS Los Angeles. And let's see here. Dennis, good morning. You're on the air on KLOS.
Oh, hello. I was just calling about Ray, man. You're so beautiful, brother. And you're just like, I don't know, like an inspiration, man. You're beautiful. And for you thinking that you're going to take whatever you have with you to the grave, you're wrong. I don't know, there's so many people, I'm sure, that are just inspired and touched. And I'm one of them, and I just want to call and just say how beautiful you were, brother.
Well, thank you very much, Dennis.
Okay.
I need that support.
Yeah, and I'm sure we all do.
Yeah, well, it's nice to hear it. I mean,
Okay.
believe me, and I accept it with everything in me.
Okay. Well, okay, good night, brother.
Good night, my brother. That was nice, wasn't it, Frank? I like
Absolutely.
that.
Take all the support we can get,
Oh,
right?
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Bill, good morning. You're on the air on the Impact program.
Good morning, Frank, and good morning, Ray.
Good morning, Bill.
You touched very briefly about the monthly fundraising dinners, and I want to say that I've been very fortunate to have been able to take part in these monthly fundraising dinners. And
Oh, Bill,
yes, sir.
let me say this before you even begin. You are a beautiful man. And I just want to say this to Bill, that the help that you have given, and this man, for the listeners, gives me every month between $15 and $19 a month, and I buy mayonnaise or relish with it. And he goes around and he collects the cans and recycles them and sends me the money and gives me the money in person. So, Bill, I love you.
Well, Ray, I love you too, and
And you are truly, truly God's instrument, and I just want to say that. And that's all I want to say.
well, I thought it was, I thought it was very important on my part to let the listeners know, and I wanted to say that, Frank, you're such a wonderful host, and that for the listeners that have not had an opportunity to attend the monthly fundraising dinners, which you so gracefully host every month, Frank, I just want to say a couple of things about that. First of all, it's very, very meaningful, very, very meaningful. The folks that get together, and they're just, it's a very, very wonderful gathering where we get together and break bread and just really, get together for a good cause. And, another thing I want to say is that, you mentioned something about, very briefly, you said something, Frank, about other organizations and stuff. And for me, one of the reasons why I got really involved was because for two reasons. Part of it was because of you, Frank, because I've known you long enough now, and I can testify with 100% that you are definitely a person of integrity, and that if anybody has any doubt at all as to how great this cause is, I can say through my own experience that I hope that folks that have not had the opportunity to get involved, or they should call the project, or perhaps you'll talk more about that maybe later about the dinners and stuff. But it's really important. It's something that folks can really put their faith in, and that as far as I'm concerned, I feel, since I've been involved with this cause, I feel I have not only a greater purpose in life, but I feel so much better about myself. And to use your term, Ray, I'm very humbled. And once again, I'd like to say, ladies and gentlemen and folks, I hope that you'll call the project and you'll listen when the next fundraising dinner is, and come and join us, and you won't regret it. You will really, really gain a lot of pleasure from it. Like I said, I'm honored, and I really look forward to the next time we can get together, Ray.
Thank you, Bill. I love you.
Thank you, Bill. We appreciate the call this morning. 520-KLOS are the main lines. And Sheila, good morning. You're on the air with my in-studio guest, Ray Castellani.
Yes. Good morning, Frank. Good morning, Ray.
Good morning, Sheila.
First of all, I just want to say that, Ray, you're the reason why I listen to the Impact program. Recently, I've just moved back to California. I was born and raised here, and it's about 5 months ago. And I'll never forget this story that you were told about one of the people on Skid Go to see, and it was about a woman. I don't remember her name, but I'm sure you'll remember, who you happened to be having a bad day. You were sick or something of the sort, and this woman who had nothing turned to you and showed love and compassion and gave you hope. And that just really touched me, because I am a recovering addict and have I used drugs for 15 years, and I am so fortunate that I'm not there with those people. And in my life, as far as hope, you give me hope. You know, you touch my heart just to hear your voice, and I want so much to meet you. I work in Encino, and I really wanted to attend the dinner that you had last week or 2 weeks ago. And I have some tuna fish for you.
Beautiful.
I got off work late, and there was a lot of people there, and I just kind of felt like I was chickened out. I didn't want to go in there. I've never met Frank, and I really just I don't know. I just felt like I would be out of place. But I am going to look forward to meeting you, and tonight hearing you. I just feel so much love, and you make me feel like I'm not alone because I have so much love in my heart too, and there's so much violence and so much hatred in this world, and like I said before, I am a recovering addict. Somehow or another, because of the love in my heart, I survived, and I've seen so many people die and so many people go to prison, and they just don't care. People just don't care anymore, and I'm fortunate that I still care, but I haven't found, like a cause in my life to focus it anywhere, and I think when I come and meet you, that'll be a start for me, and I love you. You're wonderful. And do you remember the woman's name who I was talking about?
Yeah, Brenda.
Linda, yeah.
No, Brenda.
Brenda. I'll never forget that because
Brenda.
I've experienced that before.
Yeah, that was,
And,
I remember that day, yeah. She looked at me and said, we're going to do it together, we're going to be okay, Ray, you're going to be okay, yeah. She's a beautiful woman, but...
That's things in life, something like that in life that you just are so, can't put a price tag on. It's just, I guess that's what keeps you going in your cause, and
well,
I love you.
Well, I love you too, Sheila. And listen, if you come into the next dinner,
would you please come?
And I'll tell you who to ask for. Ask for Frank Sontag and Ray Castellani. You might just as well go right to the top.
Well, I was going to bring in some tuna fish and some bagels, and I just got off work. I work at the Bagel Mart, and I felt like, wait a minute, I don't know, just out of place or something.
No. Oh my God.
I know.
Don't. Please.
I shouldn't have felt that way.
Well, no, it's okay to feel that way, but you are a true instrument, and remember that you were there.
And
you
I
were
want
there.
so much to start focusing on what I have. I mean, I always talk to people. I speak the truth, and people don't want to hear the truth,
Yeah.
especially in my addiction. I mean, people are like, shut up. We don't want to hear this, It was like, something's not right with this girl, because I'm different, because I care. I truly care. And, there's times in my life where when I care, people was like, what does she want from me, and it was never that way. And I understand where they're coming from because of all the people that are so scandalous, like you were saying about the animals, at least they'll kill you. I mean, a polar bear, if you're standing in front of them, they're going to kill you. They're not going to put their arm around you and tell you they love you and then kill you.
Right.
Thank you, Sheila. Take care. We're going to take a couple more phone calls, and you staying till 4:30 with me tonight?
Oh, yeah.
You're doing the whole show with me, right?
We'll send everybody home, and we'll just...
field calls. It'll be open phones, the Ray and Frank show.
I'd love it.
any and all topics, open forum. We'll just take them all. I'd like to hold you. I would,
It would be beautiful.
It would be something. You think we'd keep the phones busy? You think some people would want to call in?
Oh, yeah. I think I can.
You think you could?
I definitely can keep the phones busy. I know you can. So with both of us cooking, I guess we could.
Okay. So we'll keep you a little while longer.
As any time, Frank.
Okay. 520 KLOS are the main lines, and we're going to bid a warm welcome to Jim. Good morning. You're on the air on the Impact program.
How you doing, Frank?
We're well, thanks, Jim. How are you?
I can't complain at all.
Nice hearing from you.
Post-Christmas Day. Actually, I've been listening to you for about a year now, and off and on, and you have a very interesting show. I'm going to tell you a little bit about myself right now. I'm a cop for a large county entity, and I have a lot of things to say to Ray. Ray, and please don't take anything out of context. I support everything you guys are doing because kind of basically I think I'm a human maintenance technician, if you know what I mean.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about the homeless people, man. I have talked to so many homeless people, throughout my career, and I think it boils down to accountability. Do you have any comment on that, Ray?
Oh, no. I'll listen to you.
No, go ahead.
No.
I mean, a lot of people get put in a lot of really bad positions. I'm not going to tell you at all that I believe in the government for what it's doing, but I happen to be a part of it, the front lines of the government. The media obviously doesn't help us. And then you made a lot of comments about the kids. Well, I think the kids equate to parents. What are the parents doing for the kids? They're the people that show them what to do. All the behavior we have out here in society has got to be learned. We are not born with anything but a inert brain, and everything we do is learned. It's incredible. You talk about Dahmer. Man, well, that's a sorry case that, he ended up in his own violence.
Right.
And